Hey, peace and harmony with you here today. Focusing in on the reckless and immoral behavior that we see exhibited in the psychopathic individual. A psychopath is an individual who, on the cluster B spectrum of disorders, as defined by the DSM-5R Diagnostic Statistical Manual, utilized by mental health professionals to diagnose and treat mental processing disorders, personality disorders, character disorders, have found that really the psychopath individuals who present are really at the top of the spectrum in terms of the character disordered individual. So if we see narcissists on that continuum, the psychopaths are really at a more profound, more significant, and character disordered end of that spectrum. And what really typifies the behavior of a psychopath is essentially fueled by their lack of conscience, their lack of morality. The psychopathy that we see presented generally is also tied to a change of brain circuitry, particularly a heightened sense of dopamine in the brain circuitry of the psychopathic individuals. There was a wonderful study that was produced out of Vanderbilt University in the United States that looked at the exaggerated dopamine responses in the neural circuitry of the psychopaths. And this response essentially was displayed at 4 times the degree that's seen in normal, healthy individuals. So, and dopamine is very much related to what we call the reward center of the brain. And this also regulates impulse control, sexuality, risk-taking behavior, and the like. So the reward system in the neural circuitry of the psychopathic individual is extremely heightened to the degree that this creates a real surge within their risk-taking behavior, their reward-seeking behavior. And it's so profound, it's so exaggerated in their neural circuitry that they really tend to then diminish all other sort of moral limitations or impulse control, behavioral control, thought control that most people would exhibit. And in other words, their anticipation or motivation to obtain the reward overwhelms the normal legal concern or the rule concern. So they're really able to plow through any sort of limitation, even moral, legal, things of that nature, in order to seek their reward. The part of the brain that they found that this occurred in while the MRI of performing these tasks is let me find in my notes here where exactly this is located. 222. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this here. Because I think it's very important to understand the physiological basis of this, the background of this. And so it's not just something that they're in control of, they're very much out of control of this. It's the nucleus accumbens. The nucleus accumbens that is then really overacting in the brain of the psychopathic individual. So it's creating this heightened reward center. But really to the abolishment of acknowledging and heeding any sort of rules, norms of society. So when we see someone who wants something, the psychopath who wants something, they have their eyes on something, they're focused on something. It can be a physical object, it can be a person, it can be a business goal, it can be a relationship, it can be heightened, coupled with heightened sexual activity that we see, if they want to conquer some person, Oftentimes they'll use sexuality as a way to do this, even though it has no ties to love, it has no ties to affection, it has no ties to that person. It's merely an objective conquering of which they engage in this behavior. So it's really devoid of any sort of humanity, human connection. It's very much fueled by this overactivity of dopamine in the reward center. So when we say the psychopath will stop at no limitations to get at what they want, it's because their dopamine is on such full throttle. It's their reward centers in their brain are so highly activated that it causes them to not even acknowledge or become aware of or care, regard about the rules, laws, normal limitations that a healthy, normal person would abide by, acknowledge and abide by. So, they really truly don't care if they hurt somebody. They really don't care if they destroy a business. They really don't care if they've broken up a family. They don't care if they've hurt their children. If it's something that they want, if they just want to move, they just want to detach, they just want, a car, they're going to do whatever is required to get it. They just, this is just how they act. And so it's a complete disregard of any sort of value, rule, legal authority, things of that nature. So that's why the relationship with these individuals can be so profoundly shocking and devastating. And the thing to realize is that the psychopath will do this and get whatever they will focus and obtain really whatever they want. So when we see people who are completely shocked at their behavior and how could they do this, it's because they have this physiological basis, and and realize too, sometimes people do feel sorry for these people, but realize that the psychopath generally is aware of this difference within them. They are well aware of the fact that they can just go and get and manipulate and control people. They can they're aware of this quote unquote ability or this quote unquote difference about them, and so they will then realize this and then basically tell you a little bit about that. They might have these blurbs and telling you, I'm dangerous, I'm lethal, I'm reckless, I'm a cowboy, I'll stop at nothing, I'm gonna haunt you. They'll make these comments to you, and to see if you kind of get it, to see, to kind of test the waters, for example. And this is part of their brainwashing, but realize when they tell you this, they're very self-aware, and they might tell you, for example, a business associate might say, I'm wondering if I can use this to increase my business, or I'm wondering if I can use this to, make money, or they'll realize that they actually create their lifestyle and their income with very much this lack of morality, this lack of consciousness in mind. So if, when people say, I have a difficult time understanding that this is calculated, it very much is so. So definitely realize that this is what is going on, and no contact and self-protection is the only way through. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.